Detroit, and today, while out doing some canvassing, I ran into Lish, and Lish is a advocate for people and a volunteer activist, and she's wearing this vest today because she is delivering water to people in the community who are out of water. And so I had an opportunity to talk to Lish about the things that she's doing and why she's doing it, and we are going to share it with you. So, Lish, what's up? What's going on, girl?
Pretty good.
How are you?
It's all right.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
It's a great day to be out. It's not too hot, huh?
No.
You want to tell the people what it is that you're doing, why you have this on?
So we're developing some water stations so people that don't have access and have had their water shut off have a place to, for immediate relief, have bottled water. The next steps going forward is to become more sustainable and do rainwater collection and other more environmentally friendly. But it's a crisis right now. People are going without water that need water for medical reasons. There's elderly folk. It's hot outside in Detroit. A little bit better today, but we're in July. There's also like small children that need access to water and basic sanitation issue and health issue.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who don't understand that water is more than just something. Well, it is vital for drinking, but as far as health wise, it's a major issue, and we need the public to understand that if your neighbor is without water, it can affect you in more ways than one, including airborne illnesses. And so, if your neighbor goes to the grocery store and they don't have water and they touch a basket or a door or a bottle and put it back down, how that can have an effect on the population. Uh, when you are out delivering this water and canvassing, are the people open to this conversation? Are they closing the door? Are they accepting of this information that you're providing?
Well, right now, like my role has been mainly focused on just setting up the water stations right now. Um, and so what we're working on is creating more like visibility and letting people know where there are water resources. We're getting donations like international, but a huge thing that we're working on right now is similar to the foreclosure crisis is overcoming the shame or the internalization of this is my fault and getting the people to come out and being and realizing that this is not your fault, that developers owe like millions of dollars more than we do. We're getting our water shut off for $150 or less. We just went through a huge polar vortex here in Detroit, so people had a tough time managing their bills. And while the water rates are increasing, and a lot of the smart meters include water that's just running out of abandoned houses,
Yes.
that have been foreclosed on by the banks. The banks are not being held accountable to that water flowing. So we've got a lot of water flowing in Detroit, but residents are being hit and made to think that it's their fault. So if you come home and you have to explain to your child that we don't have water, like how does that affect how you feel or you can speak about it to even your neighbor?
Yes. And not only that, people are becoming more and more aware because we're trying to push the message that if you get your water shut off, a couple of things can happen to you. Your home can be labeled condemned, but more violent than anything, your children can be taken away from you.
Right.
So, as you mentioned before, the pride thing, can you touch on that aspect of the situation, how people's pride, not only their pride and their dignity, but their self-preservation is playing a part in not being able to reach out to the people?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of this is people feel embarrassed too. It's like instead of seeing this as a systematic issue that's being pushed onto.
Can you say that one more time a little bit louder? That was wonderful.
As I think people are seeing this as an individual issue instead of a systematic issue where it's being presented like it's homeowners or low income people's fault for not being able to pay their water bill. When, as I said, water hikes, the water rate has hiked up, and we owe a lot less than a lot of these big developers that made millions and billions of dollars. So who's being hit? And so I think a lot of it is overcoming the embarrassment and just not wanting to talk about it, not wanting to talk to neighbors and let them know, not feeling helpless, feeling like this is my fault. I gotta fix this. How can I fix this? How can I, maybe I won't pay rent this month because I need my water shut or turned back on. So then what does that happen? What happens when you shuffle around those bills? You're sacrificing something that is a necessity. Um, so I think we need to promote education and empowerment of the people so that we can stand up together and be like, we're not alone. This is not our fault. We can build community from this. We can go from just being isolated in our houses and, all of us have had listen bills or, I've forgotten about a bill to like happen everywhere. I think it's kind of hard to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, or I just didn't have the money this month because, my sister got sick and hospital bills are crazy.
It's so many different reasons, and it's really sad that the nation have become desensitized. Recently, a young lady by the name of Nicole Hill was showcased on the news as an individual who had her water cut off, and a lot of people across the nation, even here in Detroit, shamed her, dogged her, talked about her appearance, never taken into account what led up to this point where her water got shut off. I had the pleasure of working with Nicole down at Michigan Welfare Rights, and I can tell you that she is a highly intelligent individual who don't deserve this scrutiny. Her and her kids are going through right now. People are saying that folks can pay their water bills. People get their hair done. They can pay their water bill. They'll pay their cable, but they won't pay their water bill. It's an onslaught of reasons why people aren't paying their water bill, but because we're in the heart of an urban community, the first thing that gets the blame for this is people not prioritizing. When it's a whole bunch of different issues that come into play that really puts it in a nutshell, and you use the word systematic. I don't know how many people realize that Detroit educational system was hijacked years ago, and back in the 90s, and we've had inadequate education, and that brings about inadequate numbers when it comes to employment. Right now in Detroit, our employment rate is fourth in the nation for being the lowest, and our poverty level is sky high. We have an abundance of residents who are retired. Many of those individuals work for the city and are under concessions, and so when you take into account the automotive company moving out of the city, moving them overseas, when you take into account all the laws that are being pushed to direct jobs overseas, when you take into account that we just won a battle for minimum wage, but it doesn't take effect until 4 years from now, it kind of put things more into perspective about why people are living the way that they are in this community, and why so many people haven't been able to pay their water bill, and it goes past way past not prioritizing.
Yeah.
Depending on your life and the things that you've been through and the things that you're going through, everyone's priorities are totally different. So, like you just mentioned before, if a person has to choose between their rent and their water, they're going to choose their rent. And then if they choose their water, they get put out, and then you say, well, why you didn't pay your rent? And then it's like, well, I paid my water. And it's like,
well, would you rather have somewhere to stay? You know, so the card of judgment weighs really, really, really heavy in Detroit. And I beg the people every day to just be a little bit more patient when it comes to understanding the circumstances that are surrounding the city and the issues that are surrounding the city. People don't realize that although there are those who are not paying a water bill, they are paying taxes. And if you are a resident of the city, that means that you have ownership in the water department. And so I want people to not only hear the cry of the needy, but hear the force in their voices when they speak angrily about corporate welfare. We've been misguided to believe that corporations are people and that their welfare accountability doesn't matter. While you have normal citizens, many people who partake civilly in life every day who are being affected. And so it's a fight. And I just thank you every day that I see another person wearing this vest and who are dedicating some time into this fight. It motivates me and it keeps me going and keeps me pushing. So I thank you so very much for your take on what's happening and you sharing with the people why it is what you do. Hopefully we can get more people out here in these streets. We do these videos so that we can show the people's perspective so that others can get a little bit more understanding about what's going on in the city of Detroit. And so I hope that you all take into consideration some of the things that were said today and you share not only this video, but share your thoughts and views concerning these issues and realize that water is a necessity. We can't live without it. Everybody deserves water. And at this moment, we need Detroit to flow. Thank you.